Hopium done? No more sales of
No,
hopium?
no. I told you before this game,
Are you done
Hopium,
dealing?
Hopium was either living or dying by the result of this game.
Okay, so we're dead now with the hopium.
Yes, absolutely. Now is
Why
the
is
time. Yeah, there was still some hopium when it was Buffalo, and then I felt like the season was on the verge of a turnaround of the likes of what we saw, just where they would stay alive for a little bit. I knew Green Bay they would lose. This game I did predict a win, but obviously didn't feel great about it. But knew this was one where it could end right here, and sure enough, it did. You just can't win the way the Dolphins played. 4 turnovers. And defense did a good job putting the ball over that much and gifting playoff caliber team in their house that much of an advantage.
so? Let me ask you something because you look at the 3 interceptions, right? And the first one clearly, McDaniel told us at halftime what happened, right? Looks like Tyreek was supposed to run a more shallow route, and he ran a deeper route, and he was supposed to be in front of the safety, not behind him. So there you got the interception. The second one was an absolutely terrible throw by Tua. Bad read, bad throw, all on him right there, 100%. And the third one, you call a fade with an Oompa Loompa, and so you're asking for everything to go perfect. So it's hard on Tua, it's hard on Tyreek. I blame the coach for, you had one in the corner of the end zone with the tight end, right? You used his length and his size for that. Why didn't you try to use, people with length and size for those kind of plays? And he doesn't. Over and over again, he puts midgets there. And by the way, rarely do the midgets ever succeed in those situations. Just so you know, if you could go back and check it out, I'm sure you could probably, find out what the average is. So it shows you that all three people had to do something with those turnovers. The dysfunction on this offense that it just as your coworker says, it just doesn't work. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, as far as throwing, I'm never a fan of the fade to the smaller receiver. I do understand to an extent when it's not in the short part of the field, when you're not in the red zone and you're limited on space because Tyreek Hill, with his speed, if he's breaking away, then you can get the ball out in front of him. And we've seen that work when he's got open field in front of him. But this was a case where the throw wasn't there. And then also Tyreek Hill, he had the ball get to his hand. So the ball got to him. And then Stingley, credit Stingley as well. He made a great play to strip it from him. So that guy's a stud. So give him the props that he deserves a couple times in single coverage with Tyreek making a big play. One of those, though, was short field, red zone area, and one of those fades that you don't like. I'll have to watch the film again on those throws. But yeah, and then the first one, Tyreek Hill, obviously Tua was expecting him to run across the face of the safety. So he does that sometimes, is just throw it right at the safety, anticipating that's exactly where his receiver is going to be crossing in front of. So it didn't work out that way with the depth on Tyreek Hill's route. And then Tua tried to take some of the blame as well. But I think at the core of it, of course, if Tua's going a quarterback who puts the ball in a spot and not necessarily make sure that a guy's open and then uses his arm to hit him, then he needs, for that anticipation to work, he needs to know and trust that his receiver is going to be where he's supposed to be.
By the way, just for Z Harkness, just to give you a little warning ahead of time, I'm not big on spamming here. And when you make your point, you make your point. And you said trade Hill once. When you do it 40 times, you get blocked here, just so you'll know. Plus, usually the people that are doing that are usually putting up really stupid comments. And trade Hill is a really stupid comment because no one in the NFL is trading for Tyreek Hill. And the Dolphins cannot trade Tyreek Hill because the cap implications to trade Tyreek Hill would be catastrophic. The Dolphins are stuck with Tyreek Hill through next season. And then after next season, they will have a window to get out of it, my friend. So, Z Harkness, I just want to educate you on this. Let me educate you on this. It's impossible what you want to do. Okay? Just in case. You want to follow up there? You want to agree or disagree with me on that one there, Mr. Furones, since you're on the beat?
No, you said it right there. Cap implications would not allow it to work, and then what team is taking on Tyreek Hill at that contract? And actually, frankly, right now, at a moment where he is on a decline, if we're going to be frank. And obviously, it's a high point that he's coming from 100 yards, but we're seeing the decline. And then as 30-year-old receivers who are dependent on speed get older, then they're not going to get any faster. So that
You know,
breaks
it's
it
the
down
best
right there.
part. You know, what's the best part about the Z Harkness type of people? He's the same butt wipe that was arguing with me last year when I said, do not guarantee Tyreek a penny. Let him go after this season. Move on. And Z Harkness is one of those kind of people that wanted Tyreek and now wants to trade him. You can't have it both ways, bro. Can't have it both ways. So that's the way it goes. Now,
Do you have those receipts? Do you have those
oh,
receipts on him?
on him?
He was talking that in the
No,
offseason. I do remember our shows all offseason. Yeah, you were on that boat.
Yeah, no, dude, I was on that boat almost by myself, pretty much. Really, who was out there? Who in the media said don't guarantee Tyreek Hill the money? I'm just wondering because I don't remember any of you guys doing it. Did anybody do it?
Yeah. I'm trying to. I mean, I remember our conversations to an extent, and you were definitely the captain of that ship.
Yeah, none of you. I've had you guys on. None of you ever told me, "Oh no, don't guarantee." None of you agreed with me. Now you might have left it open, like, "Oh well, it could be good, it could be bad, or whatever."
Oh,
but nobody like me
based on off the field incidents too. Considering
yeah,
that,
yeah, that's what I included all of that. Like at one point, you have to.
right.
The tough part about that business is you got to learn when to get off the gravy train, and it might be at a moment where it looks really good, but that's kind of the idea. You got to get off before it gets bad. Once it gets bad, like it is now with Tyreek, you get the Z Harkness people chiming in like, "Oh, trade Tyreek," and it's like, dude, it's not that simple. Don't be dumb. It's just ridiculous. The Dolphins screwed up by agreeing to that deal, and now they're stuck like Chuck, dude. Not only are they stuck, Z Harkness, not only are they stuck with him, you'll back me up on this, they can get out of it after next season, and they still will take a cap hit the following year. Am I wrong here? Huh?
Yeah, I have to look up the numbers to recall specifically, but yeah, it's that kind of contract with the guarantees. Yeah, I know at least in the immediate future, it's catastrophic, really detrimental to even make any move, a cut or a trade. So you don't do that, and then it diminishes some as years go by. But this is what the Dolphins locked themselves into, and actually why I'm always answering your questions as to anything on Mike McDaniel's future, anything on anything else. It's that well, they committed to this core, so they decided they're running it out with this core, and then you kind of just have to run it till the wheels fall off, and then you go through a big rebuild after. But it's not going to lead them to the playoffs this year. They're hoping to commit or to compete for playoff runs every year with this core, and then it's already not happening in 2024, and they are stuck because they decided Tua, Jalen Waddle, Jalen Ramsey all get contract extensions. Mike McDaniel also got one on the coaching side. Tyreek Hill got a bunch of guarantees added to the years he already had. So you are running it back, and there's just no other way about it.
Yeah, that's why I told Perk, and I've told everybody now, my new thing is, okay, I know you're not firing anybody in the front office or the head coach, and you're bringing Tua back, okay? So all those people that are complaining about 1 or 2 or 3, whatever you want, that's not going to happen. Okay, if that's not going to happen, then I say you give Frank Smith, you're the people above. You tell Mike, hey, Mike, we tried this. You need to be a head coach, and Frank needs to be the offensive coordinator. He needs to be the play caller. You can't handle everything right now. That's proven for 3 straight years. That team is not organized. They're not prepared every week. That's just the way it is. Mike needs to take more off his plate, I think. That's the change I think you need to make. I know in a perfect world, I'd like Mike Vrabel here. In a perfect world, some people would like a new front office, a new head coach. In a perfect world, some people want a new quarterback, a new head coach, and a new front office. I don't know where people stand, but from everything I hear, they're all coming back. So the one change I would make if you're going to bring everybody back, I'd like to give Frank Smith a shot at covering. I'd rather Mike McDaniel handle the personalities and the relationships in the game and communicate with offense and defense and all those kind of things. I think it might be better for him than having to worry about also what plays to call, what they're calling to counter, and all that kind of shit, because he doesn't do a good job of it. So let Frank Smith do it, man. What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's like what coaches are supposed to do for their players. It's highlight their strengths and put them in positions to succeed. So I think Mike McDaniel could, to your point, do exactly that. Do exactly that for himself. Is highlight what he does best, which is to go ahead and hone in on those relationships, on his communication, those aspects of coaching, being that player's coach, and he could do it from that head role. And then now, remember, he was a first
look at it like
time
Pete
play
Carroll
caller when he came in and took.
I look at it like Pete Carroll. You know how Pete Carroll is, that he's always gun ho and he's got that great attitude and all that, and he's got his coordinators doing his thing. He's working with the players and if some guy had a bad moment, he's there to help him out, and then he's out, helping somebody congratulate them on a great moment and all that, and he's handling what's going on. You know what I'm saying? For me, I think Mike McDaniel might actually fit that better. That's all.
Yeah, could be. And then see what you got in Frank Smith. See what kind of play caller he is. Now they come from the same mold, so how much of his philosophy in game offensively would derive from what he has worked with Mike McDaniel on, and his inspiration from Mike McDaniel. So maybe it would produce similar results, but you don't know until you find out and you actually put him in that position. So it could be beneficial to McDaniel. So that was a question that was around even last year when the team was finished 11-6. They had an 11-4 record, still had a shot at the number one seed 2 weeks with 2 weeks to go in the regular season, and then obviously fell all the way down to 6 and then lost the playoff game. But that was even a question back then when this team was at its highest of highs. So certainly now it should only resurface.
All right, so Tua takes a sack early in the game where he should have thrown the ball away, and he avoids the sack. It's only 2 yards, but you also could have taken a hit, and you got lucky that you got out of bounds just in time because your teammate got hurt on the same play early in the season, blew out his shoulder by doing the same thing, holding on to the ball all the way to the sideline, right? On that third down that he rolls out to the left, he has, I believe it's Tyreek that's open, and he has a bad throw to the left. It goes incomplete. Tanny kills Grant Dubose. Okay. The interception, the second interception was on him. Okay, you can't blame him for the first one. That's on Tyreek, and the third one, I blame it on McD for asking for the impossible in that situation. But overall, not a good performance by Tua Tagovailoa. Your thoughts on how he played today?
No, certainly not. And
one more thing.
At the core of it is
diving and lying.
Of course.
And one more thing. Hey, one more thing. And lying to everybody about taking care of himself and putting his team and hanging him out to dry. He dove, which he put himself again at risk to get injured, which he still does not get it. But go ahead.
Now, all right, let's touch on that. This dive, within a yard of the first down marker, and actually he dove out in front of where the hits were coming from. So he took hits to the torso area, not the head. So actually, I think he kept his head safe by moving himself forward over beyond the defenders coming from side to side on him. So actually, in that regard, maybe kept himself a little bit safe. Now, the safest thing would be to slide, of course, because then
are you believing his incredible athleticism did that? Or was it just by chance that he dove and they ended up and he took some brutal shots to the side, dude? Brutal shots, which, by the way, he broke ribs last time he took a shot like that. Thanks to a tackle. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was also concerned for his ribs because not only does he have a history of head injuries, but yeah, he has had injured ribs. So I was concerned when I saw how hard that hit came from the side and his torso. But certainly, just to get on his overall performance, yeah, you can't go into the house of a playoff caliber team going on the road and expect to win by turning the ball over 4 times. And that's what Tua had on his plate. Yes, some of them a matter of a wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, not running the route to the right depth. Actually, Tyreek Hill was targeted on all 3 of his interceptions. He was down his 2 starting tackles. He's got a strip sack coming from his blind side where you have Jackson Carman, who hasn't started a game in the NFL since 2021, and he's been being asked to go out there and block an elite pass rusher, Will Anderson, who was the number 3 pick a couple of years ago in the draft. So you're setting yourself up for failure when you add up all those dynamics. So tough situation, but then Tua himself needed to be better dealing with all that adversity that was in front of him.
It was he didn't have a good game. I can't defend him on that, but I will say this has to be like a clear signal for the front office. They better have the best backup quarterback in the NFL next season. If it's a veteran, so be it. If it's a youngin, so be it. But you better have the best backup quarterback in the NFL next season, because you have a quarterback that eventually will get injured. 1, it's a dangerous game. But 2, he refuses to play safe. So if he refuses to play safe and he's going to hold on to the ball back there, or he's going to hold on to the ball all the way to the sideline, or he's going to be diving, then you've got a guy that's going to be injured anyway because he doesn't have the body to withstand that punishment. So how much is the importance on a backup quarterback next year?
Extremely important. Now, I would say best backup quarterback available. If you're saying best backup quarterback overall, does that mean you're willing to trade major assets to a team that would hold on tightly to whoever that best backup quarterback is?
What, Papa, the season's over when he gets injured. I mean, how many? I mean, we've done this over and over again. How many more years do you want to do this? Shayna, they bought their tickets. They knew what they were getting into. I say, let them crash. You know what you were getting into. Now you know what you have. You have a psycho at quarterback. The kid goes psycho when he's on the field. He refuses to take care of himself. He gets blinded by it, and he thinks he has to do whatever it takes to win. And he thinks he's Ben Roethlisberger, Cam Newton, and Josh Allen all wrapped up in a one. So because of that, yes, I am saying you need to go get yourself a quarterback that you can win games with, not a guy that can keep you afloat, not afloat. No, win a game, not win practice, win a game. That's what you need. And it can't be Allen Iverson, okay? But you better go get yourself the best backup quarterback, because you have the riskiest starting quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I would say best backup quarterback available that is reasonably available. You go to great lengths, but not over the top. If a team is just holding on to one of the best backup quarterbacks, you can't look elsewhere. You need to be stronger at that position, and you also need a guy who can run this system smart enough to, and also the coaching needs to be more backup quarterback friendly, and so that you can come and simplify things for another quarterback that comes in whenever that situation does arise. So it's not so complicated for someone who comes in for a first game and is just doomed because it's just an impossible task with how complicated everything is, from getting the play call in with all the formations and motions, and then communicating it all, and then getting the timing right pre-snap, and then making sure everyone's aligned. It becomes a lot in this offense. So making sure it is friendly to whoever does go in, that it's doable for someone who just gets thrown in there, but then also someone who is up to the task of whatever they can handle that you can give them on a given Sunday.
By the way, Bitcoin is at 103,700, looking for 100 for a record, baby, here on a Sunday. Welt Rheaume, Jeff Welt, Daniel Rheaume, 954-966-4646. Personal injury, bankruptcy. Unfortunately, a lot of Americans are dealing with that. Get a little Bitcoin, 103-861. Homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation. If you are dealing with any of these issues, please call Welt Rheaume. They will take care of you. If these insurance companies aren't living up to what they're supposed to do, they have their own adjusters. They will take on those insurance companies for you. 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646 for Welt Rheaume. All right. So when you write up this story tomorrow, you're telling Dolphin fans what about this performance and what the team must do moving forward?
All right. So moving forward, you're talking big picture now beyond the season, correct? Because the season's over at this point. So, yeah. All right. So I got to finish my coverage of the game, and then I'm going to wrap my mind over how I'm playing everything else. But just over.
You know what's gone on for 3 years now. You see what the problems are. What does David Furones say that they need to do moving forward?
Yeah. So I already have the knowledge, or under the assumption, I shouldn't say the knowledge, that GM comes back and coach comes back, which I think will happen, because I wouldn't make that drastic of a change until you kind of run the course, and then it's just I would like to start brand new. Once you're sure over the course of like another shot with this core, and once you run it to the end, that then you just go new GM and new coach, is how I would do it, is just to go overall a brand new start, if it did come to that point. So with the assumption that, both are coming back, then some of the things we talked about. Mike McDaniel, what does he need to do to take something off his plate? Maybe it's the play calling. Maybe it's just letting himself be an overall overseer as a head coach, and give Frank Smith that shot, which Smith could work for him if he's a guy who wants to be in those talks over head coaching vacancies, as his name has circulated but never really risen to the level of serious contention for one of those jobs. Then you already know the core that you're running back with personnel-wise, and you're kind of strapped for cash. So, yes, backup quarterback will be a premium because you're going to run it back with a lot of this core. You're going to make small tweaks to the roster here and there. Obviously, like safety, you're going to revamp that part of the roster. You're maybe finding some tweaks on the offensive line, but we do know Chris Greer's previous takes on that front, and Butch Berry's ability to develop when he's not given just the best line talent-wise. So then backup quarterback becomes a premium. You can't have another season go awry because Tua Tagovailoa gets injured. And reinforcing to Tua himself that he needs to protect himself, and I think it hit him. He revealed as much, how much he meant to the team, and how he felt over not being available for such a key stretch where the Dolphins had very easily winnable games not go their way. So I think all those things come into play in what will be a very key offseason for this whole front office and Coach Mike McDaniel, because then if you start seeing, assuming that people are back, if you start seeing some of the same things again next season, then yes, it's big time hot seat time.
The good thing is, I think the people above know that Tua will not learn. So they're kind of faced with that. They're going to have to adjust to that reality, and that's an ugly reality, because you just mentioned that he talked about how he felt bad about missing. He's full of shit. The way he played today, he's full of shit. Diving head first, no quarter. Well, Marino doesn't dive head first. Montana doesn't head first. Reese doesn't dive first. Nobody does that shit. Nobody does that. That's for Josh Allen. That's for Cam Newton. That's for Lamar Jackson. That's for those freaks. freaks can do that kind of stuff. They're athletic. That's a huge problem for this team, that he does not know how to take care of himself. And he can't lie to people by saying, "Oh, I felt bad about missing, and then look how you died." Burke didn't have a problem with it. I
don't either. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt as far as just where his mind is at, and that play I was okay with. Yeah, I wouldn't have liked it if he went and initiated contact with one of the defenders going to the side and putting his head at risk. But he was splitting two guys trying to advance forward in an attempt for a first down when the hits were going to come from the side. So I felt, he actually avoided the hits of head.
He doesn't have the body to take any hit. You're just thinking head hits. I'm thinking hits.
Yes, yeah.
He doesn't have a body. Oh, I got to tell you something. That hit was brutal, dude. Brutal he is a tough son of a bitch. Holy crap, that would have caved in my ribs. He has a rib protector, right? He must have a rib protector, because wow,
I'm not sure.
That was bad, dude. That was bad. He took a wicked hit there, dude. Wicked. I don't want to.
Yeah, it was.
I don't want to see him take any hits with anything, man. I don't know, bro. I guess I grew up differently, man. I guess we have those kind of guys. Just get rid of it, bro. Just get rid of it, and I'm good. I don't know. It's crazy. All right, follow him on Twitter at David Furones. Go ahead. Huh? What are you gonna say?
Oh no, I was just saying. I hear you.
Okay. All right.
Oh no, just agree with you. Yeah, I hear you on that.
Yeah, it's just I wish he would stay away from it. All right, follow him on Twitter at David Furones _ and catch his exceptional work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. David, have a terrific night, my brother, and safe travels, my friend.
This is the Big O Show.